is taken from my course, and we're going to talk about a little bit about holding the camera. One of the first things that I see people do, that everybody's used to using a camera phone. Well, these are designed to be held out here like this. Very, very wobbly. Most of the pictures you see coming from a camera phone are quite blurry. They're just not good pictures. They're not designed to be good pictures, for one thing. Those are just a little thing to use. Now, when people use this kind of camera, now this one's a little bit larger than what most people have, granted, but these are a lot heavier than the cell phone cameras are. You have to hold these in a particular way. A lot of times I see people taking these cameras and either holding them out here or looking at the screen on the back because they can do that because it's just like their cell phone camera. Or they're up here like this, holding it like this, and then doing one of these numbers all the time. Well, the proper way to hold this is to make yourself a tripod. Yourself the tripod. You either put this on a tripod or make yourself that. First thing you do is you should support your lens. Why do you support your lens? Because there's two controls on this lens. There's the focus if you need to do manual focus, and then there's a zoom in case you need to change your composition in there and you don't want to do the manual zoom of moving forward and moving back. You can actually turn the lens and make that composition different. You do that because this now puts the weight of the camera in your left hand. You can then put that elbow into your chest. Nice and sturdy. Bring that other hand up here, hold it, and you've got two portions of a tripod. When you bring it to your eye, you've got the third portion of the tripod. The other thing that you need to do for yourself is to put your feet head shoulder width apart. This gives you the stability, back and forth stability. But you also want to have one foot slightly in front of the other. That gives you that little forward and back stability. So if you're in a little bit of breeze, it's not pushing you back and so on and forth. You can bend your knees a little bit and hold steady into there, and you've got a good way of using the camera. The biggest thing that I see new SLR owners do is not use the camera properly that way. What if you don't have a tripod or can't do that and you still are getting some blurry images? Well, you take the camera and you find a post. Lean yourself back up against the post. That'll help hold you steady. Find a rail, fence rail, put the camera down on the fence rail, compose a shot and do that. Anything to help hold that camera steady to get a better photo that you're looking for. Okay, and some of the useful accessories that are done. Just quick show of hands. How many in this room have an SLR or a DSLR? Does your camera have a little pop-up flash that goes on the top of it? Okay. That's okay. That's good if you're shooting between 5 and 10 feet. What happens if you need flash and you want to fill in some light that's a little bit further than that? You need an external flash. Why do you buy an external flash? Well, number one, more power. These things are 4 to 5 times more powerful than the flash built into the top of the camera. What does that mean? That means your light will go further and give you the proper exposure. Another thing these things can do, and they sit right on top of the camera, and if you put one on top of your camera with that pop-up flash, the pop-up flash will not come up. It's smart enough to know that. One of the things that these also can do is you can change the angle of the light. I can put on top of my camera and like this, bounce the light off the ceiling, and it becomes a softer light, a more filling light. Instead of that harsh brightness that everybody sees in flash photos, you can soften it down by doing that. You can even change the angle where the angle of the light comes in. If I'm shooting this direction, I can bounce it off this way and put more light on one side. I could take it from behind me and bounce it around that way to better soften and fill the light. That's just a couple of things that one of these can get for a new camera owner that just wants to do take better pictures. These range anywhere from $199 to $700, so you need to be careful which one you buy what you need. Other accessories. Well, lens hood. Why do you use a lens hood? I always use a lens hood even when I'm in studio. These prevent extraneous light from coming into the front of the lens and creating flare, degrading the quality of your image. I always suggest if your lens comes with one, put it on. If it doesn't, go out and buy one. And it's a second advantage is that you notice how deep that is. Okay? You can hit the front of your lens hood without hitting your lens. Okay? And speaking of that, 1A filters or UV filters. These are just a little glass filter that you put on the front of your lens. I use them generally to protect that front element. Now with me, this lens was a $1,200 lens. to repair that front element would probably be about $600. That's 2 minutes. Okay. I put this on here because I'd rather pay the $100 for this filter than the $600 to repair that lens. You can buy those UV filters anywhere from $30 to $150. Just buy a good brand on that. Quickly, polarizing filter. Okay, back with that one. This one is a fog filter, a graduated fog filter. You put this down over the front of the lens, and as you can see, looking at me, the top portion of it is kind of foggy, and the bottom portion is clear. If I turned it this way in the camera, I would be able to make fog in a nice little lake landscape. That wasn't there. I can actually do that in camera instead of in post-processing. Then we have what we call neutral density filters. You see, this is just a darker filter. All this does is subtract light coming in from the camera. When you use these, you can slow water down. If you're taking a shot of a brook, a bubbling brook, or a waterfall, you put enough of these on, and at daytime, I can make that water stop by using these types of things. So, we've got just about a minute left, and I want to show you an interesting filter. These can be done in Photoshop, but why not do it in camera? This is a multiple image filter. It goes on front of your lens, and you can turn it to make 5 images out of the one shot. A good special effects filter, just for having fun to make an interesting photo. These are just some of the things that you can do with cameras and the different accessories that go along with it. In 30 seconds? Question? 15?
How do you put a square thing on your round lens?
Oh, good question.
This right here. There's a little adapter that screws on the lens, and then that slides right onto the front of that, and you mount the lenses right here.
That way you don't have to get different ones for all your different
Exactly, you don't have to screw it on all the time. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.